Hey everyone, this is Evgeny and I welcome you in the next video where we are building our own MCP server. And today we are continuing our work, and the idea for this video would be to create a proper plugin system where we can inject different plugins that are responsible for different sources of information. So join me and let's go together. But before we dive into the new stuff, let's quickly review what we had in the previous session. And just to refresh your memory, we started with building our own MCP server. And we had this KnowFlow MCP diagram drawn. And the idea was that we have an MCP and we have a number of plugins in the future. And if you need something else, you can add a plugin and everything's fine, right? And we created pretty straightforward structure here. So we had an index which initializes the MCP server, and also we had a server itself that provides dummy responses so far, and it was not a plugin system at all. So what was happening here, we have a new MCP server, and this one is from Model Context Protocol SDK for TypeScript. Then important points, we define the definition of the search tool. And this one should be very verbose here and describe all the use cases, because this is something which is being sent to the model, and then based on this definition, model can decide when or in which conditions this tool can be used. And also we try to apply kind of a knowledge that we do have these plugins, and if model knows or aware of that the request belongs model Jira, for example, then the model should reply with that. And so what was there? We just had a dummy responses here, and that's it, right? Practically we have a content, the text, which will be used by model to help the user in the next steps. And also we are providing some metadata like the modification date, so you can judge which document is more relevant. The system documents here, but it could be Jira, for example, and that was up to the model to decide to help us. And some confidence or scoring, and we are going to rename these properties in this lesson because, well, during the time you understand that there are some better names that reflect the actual thing what's happening here. And practically that's it, nothing really serious. If I run this MCP server, and we can build it first just to be sure, and then we can run model MCP Inspector. So it's here, I can go to the web interface, I can connect to it, and this is some output that's from us, from our server that it started. And what we can do here, we can list the tools, and there is a single tool available, search knowledge, and the whole this very long description which we provided is here as well. And like available knowledge systems, we have Jira, we have Confluence, you can search it here, right? And having this tool, we can make a call. So this, we click on it, and what's there? We have a query. Like, doesn't matter because we do have this dummy response all the time. The system itself, for example, could be like Jira, or it's optional field. We can skip it and limit how many documents we would like to have at the end. So we run the tool, and we can see that, okay, it was a search request received, and this is for debugging. We have some console logs here. So it's query test, system Jira limit 3, and here we have the successful response. And as a part of response, we are providing also instructions, so the model knows how to operate with that. Because if we are not doing doing this, for example, the model can decide, okay, I have a source, and probably this is a file name, I can read it, and it's not like that, right? So it's not for model, and we are highlighting this specifically in these instructions. And we have some confidence system and the content, and everything works pretty smoothly, right? So what's our idea for today? We're still keeping this dummy response, but we will try to introduce the plugin system, so it's easier for us in the future to enable different plugins, work on them in isolation, and enable them one by one, and so we have the more knowledgeable system at the end. All right? And so this is what we have at the moment, and if you take a look, the folder structure is pretty different. It's much more complex now. So what do we have now? Instead of only 2 files, we do have Well, we still have this index and server. And if I go to the core, so here we have interfaces, and practically what's there, we have the interface for plugin itself, and here we have ID of the plugin, the human readable name, and the description. And also we have this isAvailable function, and this is a general idea that for some reasons plugin might be not able to perform your requests. And this is not the case for this lesson, just generally, logically it's clear, right? We have some specific condition where we would like to skip some plugins. So we have this isAvailable. And the main method here is search. So we do have the query and we have the limit, and we're returning back a list of search results as a promise. What else? We have the search results, and it was mentioned here. And if we click on it, what we have, you saw it already, right? It's kind of this result, the definition of it. So what we have a content, that's the real value that the model will be using, and we have a metadata, and here we have a reference, so where this information came from, like a file name, document ID, URL, something else. We do have a source, and this is something for the global algorithm to fill. Practically what this means, this is the plugin, right? So if you have a Jira plugin responsible for providing information from Jira, then source will be Jira probably. And we need that, well, I don't know why, maybe model will be clever enough just to reorganize that based on the source of information or something. Then we have the last modified date, and this is for the document, so we can or the model can judge how actual the document is. Maybe prefer more recent documents, right? And we do have a score, and it's another metric for model to pick the best documents, and for us as well. And we have this search response from the search servers, and this is the results we have already. We saw it already, it's array. And we have these instructions that would help the model to perform the output better. All right, what else do we have here? We have a registry, and here we have this plugin registry class that knows about, that keeps information about all the plugins. So we do have the plugin ID, we have a map of plugin ID and the plugin itself. We saw this one already. And we have bunch of methods to work with it, like we can register plugin, we can get plugin by ID or by source, which practically is the same, and the comment stays the same, right? We can grab all the plugins, or we can ask for just to get back the available plugins so we can work with them. And talking about plugins, as I said, we are not going to implement anything real in this session. It's just the same dummy plugin, and it's kept now in the plugins folder. And the whole idea would be that we have a folder per plugin, put every stuff which relates to this plugin to this folder, and organize it the way we like better. Just the idea that the index TypeScript is the entry point for the plugin. So this is our plugin, it's stats.docs plugin, and again this is a dummy one. And here's the concrete implementation of it. So we have the ID of docs, and the name, human readable name is stats documentation, and the description for the model would be for architecture, documents, technical specification, and notes, which means that if model has the feeling that the user query is related to architecture, documents, some specification, notes, then probably model would tell us to prioritize this source over the others, right? And it's available always true because this is a dummy thing, and for the search, the same thing, like we just copy-pasted from the previous lesson, we are returning dummy response. So we are providing here some data, which kind of looks like real, but they're not. And finally, we are returning only the specific limit of documents. All right, what else do we have here? We have services. And we have the only service so far, it's knowledgeable knowledge service, and this one is responsible for performing, practically it's responsible for taking the user input and perform the search across all the enabled plugins and return the result back. So what's happening here? It's pretty simple, right? We get list of all available plugins, then what's happening, we are running all these plugins in parallel, right? Then we are mapping the results. So what's happening here, we might score the source of plugin that the model mentioned. So we're adding this kind of 20% on top. And also we are saving the plugin ID in the response. And based on that, we have these search promises. So it's a list of arrays of search response for every plugins, and they're running in parallel. So we're saving our time here. And once we have ready this thing, we are waiting until all the plugins finish their job. And after that, we are flattening it, so we don't have a list of lists, but we have a plain flattened list. And then we are sorting it based on a score and limiting by the limit and returning back. And practically that's it. And we're providing instructions, as this is something you saw already, right? So that's practically it, all the components. Let's take a look how our index and server were changed during this session. So what's happened here, we have several additional steps, like we do the discovery of plugins, and we have to do it in a block way because of the way how this MCP SDK works. So what's happening here, first we're discovering all the plugins, and we have this discover plugins function from the plugins. Well, probably something we have to look at as well, right? Let's take a look. And here's again another dummy function. This is not on our session today because, well, we are just grabbing, we know, okay, we have this test.doc plugin and we are taking it as the only plugin so far. But this is a very temporary solution, and in the future, in the next video, we will be doing the real discovery of plugins and loading them dynamically here on the startup. So what's happening here, we are discovering all the plugins, we are generating plugin registry here, then having the registry, we generate the list of available plugins, and we need that for, let me show it to you. For this thing, so we need to tell the model so which plugins are available, so model can pick one, and like if there's a strong preference for this plugin, so we need to generate this list. And the way how we are doing this, we're just grabbing all the plugins and taking the plugin ID and plugin description, we are generating this string and making it part of our prompt at the end. And then we initialize the server, providing the knowledge service, which we saw already, and this one also knows the list of available plugins, and we are providing the text definition of all the plugins. And if I go inside what's there, we have the same prompt, you saw it already kind of, but we grab sources in a dynamic way this time. So it's not hard-coded anymore, but it's based on the list of plugins. And we do have the service. And what's happening here, we are not providing dummy output as previously in the server, because now plugin is doing that. So what we are doing, we are calling this knowledge service search, and we saw this already, right, as this thing where we run everything is parallel. And then we have a response, and then return it back, and practically that's it. And if there is a error in the try catch section, we just provide, okay, error occurred, and well, sorry, no data for you now. But this is this should look very familiar to you so far, right? This is from the previous lesson. And the rest is the same, right? So we have the server initialized, it knows the knowledge service, which knows how to make the multiple calls to plugins. We are providing this definition of available plugins for the model. And having that, we are creating a transfer protocol, we are connecting our server to this transfer, and practically that's it. All right, so now it's time to give it a try and run. Let's again build it first. Then run the inspector. Okay, so I'm disconnecting. Let's clear this one, connect again. And see, the output is immediately different. We have this discovering plugins thing. We have the one plugin found, register plugin test documentation docs, and plugin discovery completed, then plugin loaded successfully, and then our server is up and running. And if I list the tools again, so check out that we have the same single tool with the name search knowledge, but if you check it here, available knowledge sources, it's dynamically generated. So we have only docs for architecture, documents, technical specification notes, and that's it because we have the single plugin at the moment. Right, and let's make a call with it. So the same, I am typing test, doesn't matter what exactly because there's a dummy response that we get back. I'm running it. And we have a successful call, and the result is here, and we have two content items, and the metadata is reference, it was renamed, score is different, and source is docs, because this is from docs plugin, and docs is the plugin ID. And we do have this course 1.95, 0.87, 0.95, and we can boost it. So if you say that, okay, as a model, I think this is a doc source, and again, make the same call and the same result, but take a look at that. Our score is 1 because it was boosted by providing this specific source. It's 1 and 1. All right, this was the next step of building our KnowFlow MCP. And in this lesson, what we did, we created a proper plugin system. So we allow the plugin registry to discover all the plugins, load them into the memory, and then we configured our MCP server with specific plugins in place. And it worked. So the next session, what should we do? Well, the next thing to improve, I would see we need to implement the real plugin scanning. So it's not hard-coded as now, but we should really scan the folders and grab the list of all the plugins. And this should happen automatically, not hard-coded again. And then maybe we will see, but well, the first option for me would be to start implementing a real plugin so far, maybe the one responsible for searching across specific folders, so file search or something. It's not so interesting maybe as making a call to Jira or something, but we should start somewhere, and this one will be doing real search based on your file system. All right, that was it for today. Thanks for sticking with me till the end, and well, I really appreciate that, and I will see you next time in the next session about improving our beautiful, cool, great KnowFlow MCP server. See you and bye-bye.